Alright, hello everyone, it's just a Bud Quiz from Heavy Ammo Unbound, and I've been playing a lot of Destiny recently. Like, I don't think I put this much time into a season since either Shadowkeep's launch or, like, Season of Dawn. I've been playing a shit ton, and playing through this content reminded me of a few things. The Taken are everywhere, literally everywhere, and arguably, they're the best slash most interesting race in Destiny history. And I'm not only talking about lore-wise, I'm talking about gameplay and difficulty-wise also. These creatures stepped into our universe in 2015, and since then have shown how mechanically annoying Destiny can really be when it comes to combatants. Just a fair warning here, I'm going to gas the absolute shit out of the Taken, basically this entire commentary, lore-wise and mechanic-wise, so just keep that in mind. Like, if I could bootlick an entire race in Destiny, this is the video for the Taken. So before even going into the lore, we just want to take a second to talk about the Taken designs in general. It's crazy to me how good they look, even though they're basically just reskinned enemies. That, like, Taken-y look they have is something that people have been clamoring for in D2, and honestly for a good reason. A, we only got to use the Taken armor near the latter half of Destiny 1's life cycle, Taken Spring basically. And B, the Taken weaponry that was added even later into the life cycle, and it was of a smaller capacity. It was basically just 2 weapons. And thinking back to D1, it's honestly horrible that we only got such little time with the aesthetic. And I mean, I don't blame the player base for wanting this back in Destiny 2, because who wouldn't want to look like Alien X if you could open carry? Like, am I right? Weird nebulous designs like this, where your whole body's a cosmos, are basically always in style, and are just really fun to stare into. I also enjoy how they're always, like, shaking in pain, like you can see deep inside the actual alien being just trying to escape, but Oryx or Savathun or whoever's controlling the Taken at this point's hole's just too strong on them so they can't escape. That's like a really cool story aspect and how they are actually in game, as opposed to just reading the Grimoire. But back to the less superficial aspects in the lore. The Taken / Hive have some of the deepest, most interesting lore in the game. I mean, there are multiple reasons why people consider the Taken King to be the highest point of the Destiny series so far, and a portion of that is because of how amazing the characterization is for Oryx and the rest of the Hive in the Book of Sorrows. In the Book of Sorrows, we got the origin story for the Hive, which so far, as far as I know, is the only origin story we've gotten for any race in Destiny. We also got to understand how Oryx and their siblings got their power, and what they had to go through to become the powerhouse Hive gods that they were hyped up to be by the time Destiny launched. Learning about the hardships of a bad guy is something you don't really see in Destiny, or at least didn't see back then. We only seem to see that stuff in more serious narrative-focused games, and we never saw it in Destiny until Taken King. Like, for example, until arguably Shadowkeep, we really didn't know why the Heart of the Black Garden was holding a Heart of the Darkness, and why the Vex decided to worship it. And I'm not asking, like, humanize the Vex or anything. I guess we kind of got that with the Winnower lore, but that's not what I'm trying to say. But having a boss we can actually empathize with, while still hating, is honestly huge to me. Oryx and his breed, which include the Taken, are also the doorway to one of the best parts of Destiny in my opinion, the magical, paracasual, cosmic stuff. The introduction of the Taken led in hand to the introduction of the cooler aspects of cosmic Destiny, like Ascendant Realms, Throne Worlds, Sword/Bomb logic, and basically anything revolving around the Nine. These more ethereal aspects create more interesting stories, and those stories usually revolve around what the Taken are doing in that area. You can't run through the Ascendant Realm or the Nine Realm without running into at least a couple Taken on your way around. And the fact that the most morally great character in Destiny is using the Taken as a way to show Guardians the power of the darkness shows me that the Taken are a perfect example of what we could learn from them. Oryx or Savathun or anyone who learns from the deep turns a normal combatant into a death machine when Taken, and the more you fight against a Taken, the more you can see why Oryx used to call his Taken the perfected versions of that species. And the best part about that is it's not just reflected in like the Grimoire cards or the lore books or anything, it's reflected in the gameplay too. In the Grimoire for all the Taken combatants back in Destiny 1, you got told how getting Taken changed them for the better in Oryx's eyes. Since Taking is all about copying the darkness and creating the perfect shape, Oryx is the same with his Taken army. He perfects them by taking them and focusing on the problems with the normal enemies and bettering them. For example, the Thrall go from an enemy that endlessly runs at you in packs hoping to outnumber your bullet fire, to more, as the Grimoire says, elusive targets. And you can totally see that in the gameplay. The Taken Thrall run at you in groups, but are hard to shoot at because they're constant teleporting and maneuvering. Same with the Taken Hobgoblins. To Oryx, their normal versions are considered high priority targets because snipers, duh. And so Oryx gave them the power to retaliate back at their aggressor. I could honestly go on with every single Taken combatant, but I think you get the idea. All the new abilities drastically help the survivability of the Taken, and that's what makes them so gosh darn annoying to fight, because they not only understand their faults, but are set up to be prepared for anything we try to throw at them. Honestly, they're playing checkers while we play chess with guns, if you think about it. And I think that's another reason why I'm actually really worried about when the Triangle ships finally decide to actually retaliate instead of just hanging over us like overprotective parents. I mean, if Oryx was able to completely counter us 5 years ago, when we were still kind of, budding Guardians, imagine what the actual potential embodiment of the darkness will be able to throw at us. This also simultaneously makes me hyped for Witch Queen and Lightfall, but that's beside the point. I'm hoping that our Guardians delving more into the darkness and its powers in these future expansions will help us work on our hard counters, just like Oryx did with the 4 original races. Like, for example, the terrible ammo economy, and maybe a helmet for every Guardian, since our worst nemesis seems to be the Architect nowadays. But anyways, this is Bunquist from Heavy Ammo Unbound signing out, and currently frantically looking for a Splintfoil hat so the Traveler can't read my thoughts. I will see you guys next time.